Good morning, Chris, N8PEM. This is my soft-roading Tesla Model Y. It's a 2020. I picked it up a couple months ago, and I've been working through the process of getting it ready for going to soda trailheads, parks on the air stuff, and I just finished my mobile install this morning, and I wanted to walk through it with anyone who is curious, because I've seen some other Tesla ham radio mobile installs, and I appreciate all that info. It helped me in planning my install, but I did mine a little different, and I just kind of wanted to walk through it in case it might help anyone else. So I did do a little bit of vinyl wrapping, and that's kind of where some of this install starts. I have this black vinyl wrap that I did down to this portion of the trunk lid, and I wanted my antenna mount. This is the Diamond 400, K400. I wanted the mount to be on top of the vinyl to help protect the paint. I went with the Comet SS680 antenna. The only reason I picked this antenna is it's short enough that I can get into my garage without it hitting, and it's also a half wave on 2 meters, so that should help alleviate any SWR issues. Obviously I got the RG316 right there, which is nice. Let's pop the trunk. So this coax install, I think, is important to note. I had to be really mindful of how this huge hatchback lid closed, especially as the coax kind of pinches. And as you can see, I've worked through the process, and I've got just one little hose coax clip here, one little clip there, and there's just a little bit of flexion, and it closes real nice. I'll see if I can show it here. That was kind of fast, but it works great. And there's plenty of gap space on the Tesla Model Y where it's not pinching the coax at all. I will also note here, while I'm thinking of it, any of the cabling I run, I try to be so careful with all the sharp edges of metal, especially buried under the trim, because there's a lot of them, and it's not an exact science, but whatever. So to get the wire, the coax, into the car, I found the best option is this rubber boot right here, which kind of goes above the headliner. I've tried to loop the coax down a little bit, so if there's any rainwater that comes down and gets on this wire, this coax, it'll want to pool here and then drip off. So I wanted to try to give it a little bit of a loop and not pull it straight up in. And I was very mindful on modifying this rubber boot on the inside just a little bit so the coax isn't rubbing on that metal piece. This this coax, I had to pull out the headliner. The headliner is plastic on the Tesla, so you can pull it out with and not worry about it bending and creasing or anything. All the wiring for all the coax goes down this C-pillar, down below the seat. While we're right here, right below this seat is a 12-volt positive and negative lug. That is where I hooked in my power cable. I've got some toroids wrapped around the power cable under the seat. This just pulls out. It's pretty easy on the seat. The seat's easy to pull out. All the trim is the hardest thing in the world. The radio, I am going to have beneath there's a second one of these shelves here, or floor pieces, that sits right on this. And I've just got the radio, just gonna have it sitting right there. I don't think it's gonna slide around too much. It's gonna be covered. It's got a little bit of airspace. all of the cabling for the radio goes through right there. I did cut the upholstery for the cables to run. That's about the only modification I had to make, which I'm happy about. I don't like drilling holes in cars and cutting things unless I have to. Obviously, you got to go with the power pole connection on your power lead, and this gives me some options. If I'm running soda and I need to charge something, I can pull that power lead off and connect right into that. I could add other power pole accoutrements later on if I wanted to. There's also a 12-volt cigarette lighter in the trunk of the Tesla. So I've got some options for power back here, which is nice. I did want to leave the 12-volt cigarette lighter free for things in the future, or just to plug something in to charge it. I did really think about using that to power the radio, like cutting into those wires and adding some sort of power pole device, but I didn't. I went with it right there. Okay, let's keep moving forward here. So running the wires on the passenger side, all the trim in the Tesla is kind of a bear to get out. It is in most cars. It is what it is. And then the wires run right under the seat here. By pulling the trim and kind of separating this carpet, I was able to get the wires under the seat and then under the center console. This carpeted piece here can pull out, and there's some wide open space for you to finagle things under there, which is nice. So let's get over to the driver's side and finish this up. So it was very important to me to have a super clean radio install and not drill holes or do anything crazy with the Tesla. As you can see, here's where I've mounted my Icom ID-880. It's not the newest, it's not the fanciest, it's the radio that works for me. As far as a radio mount, I'll post the link, but I just found, I looked high and far, and I found a little 3D printed mount that was as low key as possible, and I just used some heavy duty 3M double-sided tape, no residue tape, to stick it on, and it works great. There is some adjustment if I need to, but right now it's kind of perfect. The only issue to note with mounting a head unit here, now this is one of the earlier Model Ys, so that your cell phone cover doesn't go up all the way. If I wanted to leave it up permanently, I could have raised it before I mounted the radio and just never closed it, and that was an option I considered. But I do like having my phone in here and having it closed, so it just doesn't go up all the way now, but that's fine for me. As far as speaker, I've got the $5 Hamvention speaker that, again, I've just used some heavy duty 3M double-sided tape, and I've just mounted it below the dash, above the gas pedal. I've actually had that speaker mounted there for a couple weeks now just to test it, and it doesn't interfere with anything as far as me driving, so that's great. And then the last thing I need to note is the microphone. So for the microphone, I've run the microphone extension cable just right next to the track of the seat, and I have a little bin with all of my extra stuff under the seat in the Tesla. There's the bin. And if I'm not using the radio, I'm just putting the mic here. Sorry, I didn't plan this in advance. It's a little caught. Can't get it. There we go. The goal is just kind of set the microphone there when I'm not using it. I'm not using the radio, but if I am, it'll be real easy to pull up and just kind of set in the center console. So there we go. So that's it. I haven't even made a QSO with this. I just got it set up, just finished it this morning. Hope this review, or not really review, just detailed narrative of this install might be helpful for some folks who might be looking to install a ham radio in their Tesla. So that's it. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. 7-3, y'all.